Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe now. I'm Guido.
Hi, I'm Moy.
So today we're going to talk about Moy a little bit. Moy came to me. She randomly jumped into the shop, looking for a job. It was intriguing right offset because she's an anime artist. She does a lot of different work, traditional work. And tell us how you started.
Well, I started working at tattoo shops. I always worked kind of as an apprentice. I was always there watching. I have been drawing like all my life, like my entire life. I've always been drawing, but I never took it like seriously. It was just like me just draining my stuff into drawing. And but I always knew that at some point I had to do something with that. I wasn't sure what. I started studying graphic design, and that didn't work. That definitely didn't work. Um, but as I started working as an apprentice at studios, I was like jumping all around, like different stuff inside the studio, but not actually tattooing.
Did you get hazed at all?
Yeah, a lot.
What was the worst thing that happened?
I don't know. I think being a little bit misvalued. Yeah, misvalued.
Okay. They didn't like give you the purple death hands or
What?
you never heard of purple death hands?
No.
Or you glove somebody?
Where you what?
I do it all the time.
What's glove somebody?
I'm not telling you. Now you're just gonna find out. But anyway, so
I have to Google it later.
no, it's not definitely not Googleable. So coming up as like an artist trying to be a tattoo artist, what do you think like your biggest your biggest obstacles were?
I think being a female.
Being a female?
Just being a female was like the biggest obstacle. I guess it's not a thing anymore, like so much.
Females are dominant right now.
Yeah, I know.
I know because both of my shops are all female. I am the only male in both of my shops.
We're dominant now. But being in an industry where you're a female, like at least how it was back in the days, this may sound like I'm old, but I'm not that old. But yeah, I feel like you weren't taken seriously. You just were like, oh, she's pretty, she's nice, come on in. And I think there was more than that. They didn't actually take your work like you did a good work. It was more like your appearance or how you treated clients and just be nice, just look pretty and be nice. And I think you have to look at artists for what they are, for what they work are, more with what they look like. And after I learned that, because that was a huge obstacle for me, not being taken seriously. I still feel like I'm learning. I'm still learning stuff.
Well, we all learn as an artist. You never stop learning. If you meet an artist that says that he knows it all, remember this. They don't know it all. They're bad artists. Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, nobody knows it all. Everybody's still learning. But at some point, you start believing that you've not been taken so seriously all your life that you start believing it. And I think that's an obstacle you put on yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
And then we have to understand that we're not in competition with anybody. Like nobody is our competition, even for whatever they say.
Yeah, no, what's funny about our industry is I never looked at tattoo artists like when I was younger, maybe because it was very competitive when I first started tattooing. Very competitive, like it was cutthroat competitive. Now, I made so many friends in the industry and colleagues who finally accepted me in the industry, and I see them as colleagues. I don't see anybody as competition. If an artist can do something that I can't do, I always refer to client. I don't try to just do it or just deny the client. I try to refer to business where it belongs. So it's like I totally understand that part a lot because I struggled in my career a lot with that because I wasn't accepted, but I also didn't take my
you weren't accepted because of your style, because of your way of working.
More or less my lifestyle, who I was at the time. I didn't really take art very serious back then. I was tattooing just to get by, and finally when I put the foundation down and I was like, I'm gonna do this, then everybody started seeing change in me, and then that's when people started giving me more of, you know,
Hmm.
more attention.
And did you feel like with yourself that you at some point like believed what people around you said about you?
No, so I've always had the persona. So like, so one thing that anybody who's known me for years knows that I have a I don't give a fuck attitude. So like even from my teenage years to my 20s to now, I never cared what anybody thought. You know what I mean? Like I personally can give two shits what anybody has to say about me. I've heard stories about me that I'm like, wow, I did that. Did I really? No, I couldn't have done that.
I don't
You know what I mean?
remember. Was I
Because
drunk?
the thing is, like, people talk, and in the tattoo industry, it's very gossipy sometimes. And
Yeah.
when the old heads, hear you're moving up and you're taking their clients, they get butthurt and they start calling you a scratcher. They start calling you this and that. And I used to go to war with these dudes online, and I'm the biggest troll online, so I'm gonna sit there and I'm not gonna stop, and they're gonna have to take their heart medication. You know what I mean? But at some point, I got more humble, got got too old to play those games, and I'm
He's
still
old.
I'm still a troll. I will still troll you hardcore, and I do have troll accounts. But anyway, I became more humble, and I see what the industry is becoming now. It's hard to stay humble
Yeah.
because this new age of tattoo artists coming up, they
The
don't,
rock star mentality.
yeah, they don't value the history of tattooing. They don't value the pioneers that came up. Like you can ask anybody who Rick Walters is, you can ask anybody who Freddie Negretti is, and this new age of tattooing, these artists coming up, going to tattoo schools or teaching themselves in their house, they couldn't tell you who these artists are. They'll tell you who Sailor Jerry is because he's on a rum bottle. You know what I mean? But they couldn't tell you who, you know, Cap Coleman. The bigger artists who were stepping stones into this industry. So it's kind of sad to watch where our industry is going. So yeah.
Hmm.
So what would you say is the style that drew you into tattooing?
Well, I always been like into cartoons and stuff. Like that was like my thing. Like since I was little. Like I love drawing cartoons and all the stuff kids do. And I think I just got stuck there forever.
So I have two kryptonites. Not that I can do it. I hate doing it. And it's script and cartoons.
You don't like cartoons?
I don't like cartoons because like I feel like I have to mindfully make the animator proud.
Oh yeah.
Because it's his artwork. And I'm not one that's gonna freestyle Mickey Mouse because Mickey Mouse is supposed to be perfectly done.
Like Mickey Mouse.
As Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
So I get not say intimidated and I'll do it. It's just that it's not something that I have fun doing because I'm putting so much mind and thought into it that I'm not having fun with it.
But I guess like at least on my side, I like there's certain characters that like you're not gonna draw, I don't know, Tasmania on your style because it's not gonna look like him.
No.
It has to be him. But certain things can be redrawn, and you're still like gonna get certain elements of the character and make it in your own style, and people are gonna be able to identify, oh, that's, I don't know, this character from this anime because it has certain elements in it that makes it look like the character. So that I think that's like my strong point at some drawing and illustrating. I always try to grab like the most important stuff of certain characters so I can just put them in my characters. And I've tried to do that like at least when I started drawing when I went digital, like starting drawing on my iPad and stuff. That was always what I took of reference, just the small little things that made me like, oh, it's this guy.
So I got a question, and I'm pretty sure everybody's curious about this because our industry here is a lot different than where you came from.
Very much.
What would you say, like, because you've tattooed Venezuela and Peru both, right?
No, I just tattooed in Peru,
In
but I
Peru?
worked at a studio. I worked at studios in
So
Venezuela.
what's the difference in between the industry there compared to here?
I think industry over there is a little more strict than here. Like people take it like there's always like two sides of people, but they take it like more competitive. Like I want to be better than you industry.
Yeah.
I feel like over here it's like more friendly. Like everybody is like open up to everybody.
Yeah.
I just when you said like when we were talking a little bit earlier, you said that there's a lot of gossip around.
Yeah.
Well, when I used to work in Peru, I don't know from who I heard it from, but it's stuck in my head. It was stuck in my head forever. And they said like the industry of tattooing in Latin America is like it's like working on a hair salon.
Yeah.
There's always like gossiping and people throwing shit at each
So
other.
it's very cutthroat.
Yeah, definitely.
Very
Yes.
cutthroat.
I mean, there's amazing artists. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no,
That-
I've seen some really good.
there's
artists,
super incredible artists over there that I mean I respect, and most of them I have friendships with, and they're super good people.
yeah. Mhm.
But they all talk. Most of them talk shit about
Yeah.
each other, and that's not good. You know, not all of them,
Yeah.
but there's like a lot of cases of people talking shit about each other, and I don't think that's cool. I don't think it's fair. You know, because we're
Yeah.
all trying like the same goal, like to learn and to get better.
Well, and you know what's funny is so like that goes back to my whole opinion about the new age of tattooing coming up. I have tried to like speak knowledge that I could give, or like you know comment on somebody's tattoo and like secretly message them and let them know, hey, if you did this line a little bit different and you threw a
Yeah.
bolder line in, it would help. Blah 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 blah. And then their rock star mentality kicks in, and they think that they're the best tattoo artist in the world. Meanwhile, their tattoo has chicken scratch.
Because they're not humble, because you're not humble enough to accept a private criticism or a constructive one, because your ego is like in the way, and they're probably gonna think you're attacking them.
Yeah, no, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I recently, so I use this ink beetle stuff, and I put it on your arm that one time with your brother, and I love that stuff personally. I think it's cool as fuck. I love it, but
Shaved my arm.
somebody was yeah. Somebody was commenting on one of their posts, like totally trashing the company, but never used their product. And I had just said, I'm that guy where I will fucking dig deep into your life if I'm curious. And I clicked on her page. I clicked on her booked in
Mm.
where you book an appointment with her, because she didn't have a shop listed where she worked. She didn't have any of her work listed.
Maybe she worked
So I-
back home.
So I clicked that, and it had an address. So I copy paste the address in Google, and it came up to a shop. I'm not gonna say the name of the shop, but it came up to the shop, and I
A
typed
backyard.
in her name with that shop name, and I found her tattoos. And let's just say she looks like she's been tattooing for 6 months, and she's telling this company that is an industry company that their product is garbage.
And she barely knows
So
whatever it is.
I sat there and I commented and I told her, you should humble yourself. And I grabbed one of her tattoos and I posted it. I said, you should learn contrast and light source before you sit there and you bash a company in the industry.
Yeah.
And then she ended up deleting all of her posts. So you know what I mean? It's that's the problem with our industry. It's like you got these artists coming up, and you got like, I'm not saying it can't be done. Don't get me wrong, it can be done because Bob Terrell is living proof. But you got these people who are 30, 40 years old just wanting to start tattooing, but have no experience in art. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I think that's the problem, because you can start. I'm in favor of starting stuff in your life at whatever age point you're in.
Yeah. Well, Bob
Like-
Terrell, you ever heard of him?
What?
You ever heard of Bob Terrell?
No.
He started tattooing later on in his life, and he's probably one of the most incredible portrait artists. Like, I followed him earlier in my career,
Mhm.
and I was really amazed at what he could do in such a short time. And I
But
was
he
really
has
impressed.
he has an art background.
Yeah. No, and he has a band. He's in a band too.
See,
but
that's the I think that's the important thing. And I just see like there's a lot of artists that come like right now, and they don't have an art background. They're just like, oh, I want to learn how to tattoo. Yeah, but you don't know how to draw.
yeah.
You don't know how to create something. You just grab something that's already pre-made, and yeah, you can replicate it, but that doesn't make you exactly an artist. That just make you somebody with a skill.
It's mainly because they don't want to work a 9 to 5. They want to become tattoo artists for the money, for the rock star. And I can promise you guys now, if you think you're gonna become a tattoo artist and make it rich, we are probably the most in debt industry.
Hairdressers got it better.
Yeah, hairdressers got it better. Tattooing isn't what it is.
Put your lashes on.
Not saying you can't make it wealthy, because there are tattoo artists out there who are, stepping outside of tattooing,
Yeah.
and are, help with marketing. They're helping the industry grow as far as teaching algorithm with social medias and stuff like that. And they found their niche.
Yeah.
But to the average tattoo artist that thrive on walk-ins that don't have a following, it's a struggle to just jump in this and think you're going to make it happen.
Smallest violin in the world. But yeah, going back to like the art background, sometimes that kind of worries me, because you're having an industry that it's oversaturated with people, because everybody wants to do it, and you at some point you just have you can't trust the artist anymore, because you have a bunch of people that's posting other people's work.
Yeah.
Or they're posting fake designs that are not made by them, that just find in the internet, and you're trusting that that person can perfectly replicate that thing they're offering.
Yeah.
And that sometimes like scares me, because you're getting this industry oversaturated with all these people, and you're leaving the people that actually want to try doing it and actually want to take it seriously behind.
Yep.
Without a job and poor and living under a bridge.
I mean, it's a scary reality, and it's everybody likes the idea of being famous, and for some reason everybody thinks tattoo artists are famous.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Who the freaking thinks that we're people with tattoo artists are gonna be famous?
Because
they're not famous.
Shows like Ink Master, shows like Miami Ink, which by the way I loved. I love Miami
I love
Ink.
it too.
Because you know what, watching those shows made me want it more. And I was younger. I was in my early 20s, and I did my first tattoo when I was 16. And I wish
what was it? You remember?
So it was flames around the wrist. It was flames around the ankles. It was. I had a buddy of mine, an older friend,
burning person,
who's more like a older. He's like an older brother to me. He got me into the industry, showed me the tattoo machines. Taught me, pins and points and stuff like that. And I wish I kept it serious, but I was 16, 17, 18, and I didn't take it serious. I was too busy getting arrested, too busy doing dumb shit. I was couch hopping. I wasn't staying in one place. I was in a new relationship every 6 months, and I was that guy, you know what I mean, or that boy, as I should say. And between being locked up and everything else, it got old. So around like 23, 24 is when I finally, locked down. I was like, I'm going to be a tattoo artist. And
what made you like click into being a tattoo artist? Because was it something like you always wanted to do, or like have you always like been drawn to art?
So ever since I was a kid, as far as I could remember that I could pick up a pencil, I drew. From comics to Disney characters. If there was a cartoon, I wanted to draw that cartoon.
See, you could draw cartoons.
Yeah, but
why are you lying to me?
As a kid, we don't know better. We're like, oh, Goofy, he's cool looking, let's draw Goofy. But I was big into like X-Men, Ninja Turtles, and stuff like that. So, but as I got older, you tend to lose track of what your talents are in your teens. And around my times, we didn't have the internet as much as like these guys do.
Like pigeons and messages.
Yeah, well, no. Well, we were more out in public, and I was out having fun.
Yeah.
I was out enjoying life, not necessarily enjoying. I was doing a lot of dumb shit, but eventually you just get tired of it. I got tired of waking up in a jail cell. I got tired of being on probation. I got tired of court. I got tired of the same bullshit over and over and over. So eventually I was just like, do I want to work a 9 to 5 or do I want to like take something serious? And Miami Ink was just popping off around that time. And I'm like, why didn't I stick with this? And Miami has always been my heart. Like before I even went to Miami, it's been my heart. And I've always been like drawn to like tropical, just warm places.
You should go to Latin America
Well,
for a visit.
that's on my plans. But I just when Miami Ink came out, I'm sitting there watching these guys, and I'm learning, and they kind of like gave me goosebumps, and I was like, yeah, like I need to get back into this. I need to do this seriously because
How old were you when Miami Ink came out? Like
I was only like 21.
21.
Yeah, I was like 21.
I was like, when it was on, I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this one episode where I don't remember if it was Kat Von D or who did who, but who did, I don't remember who did the tattoo, but I remember the client, and she's like I think she was like a manager at another store or something like that. It was a friend of hers, and she did this huge piece of like candy bars, lollipops on her ribs. And I remember seeing that. I was like, I don't know, 13. I was like, oh, I want to be like that. And I love that episode. I watched it like already grown up, and I was like, I think that's the episode where I clicked and I said like, oh, this stuff like the stuff I like to draw can be a tattoo, because it was so different. It was like something else. It wasn't like the Japanese thing. It wasn't like the tribals. It wasn't like what I was used to seeing.
Yeah.
And it was something different, and I just thought like, oh, I can do my stuff too. So I think like Miami Ink was a pretty good inspiration for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because the same time it was good, it also helped like bring the industry where it is now. And it's not that the art industry is bad now. It's just that when you popularize something and you commercialize it, it becomes too corporate.
Yeah.
And tattooing was never meant to be corporate. I see all over online, everybody's like, stop gatekeeping. Tattooing is one thing that should be gatekept. We should not share secrets. We should not open the doors to everyone. And that's crazy to say, but think about all the people right now that are tattooing in quote unquote private studios that are just apartments that for some reason in some states health departments regulate.
Yeah.
Make sense. But and they're just tattooing. They don't even know how to tattoo. They don't know shop logics. They don't know, proper bloodborne. They don't know anything but what they're watching on TikToks and reading online. And I get it, you can learn a lot, but still you're not learning a lot without hands-on.
Yeah.
So a proper apprenticeship is always the way to do things properly. And it should be up to the shop to choose you, not you to choose the shop.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure people will come into the comments and be like, oh, well, if I don't like the shop, why would I let the shop choose me and me not choose the shop? Well, unfortunately, the people that you are closer with and that you click with are going to take it easier on you. And they're not going to be the ideal connection that you want, because you're not going to get the ideal experience. You're going to get pampered, you're going to get babied, and you're going to get handed everything. You need a shop that's going to go hard on you and teach you tough love, because they're going to put more heart into you than the person who quote unquote is more your style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our industry is changing, and I know we got to get with the times, but I just hope it slows down and goes back to where it needs to be.
One thing that I find like really different from industry here, like at least in Peru, where I like jumped from studio to studio, a big difference I saw was like there's no like sanitary restrictions in Peru or
That's
Latin
scary.
America. Yeah, it's scary, but you don't have like the health department in there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, checking for everyone's license. You don't have that over
Is
there.
there a health department in general?
There is, but it doesn't work.
Oh, well, when COVID was a thing, it worked.
Yeah, COVID was a thing, but yeah. But yeah, like at least in COVID, it was really hard over there. Like
Yeah.
people were, I remember my colleagues and stuff really struggling, like because they couldn't like even go to work. They couldn't
Yeah.
do anything. Restrictions, I think, in at least in Peru, it was really hard. It was like I hear you guys speaking like, oh, we could wear masks or we could do this and we could do that. But in Peru, there was basically a lockdown, like a complete lockdown during like a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And you saw like artists losing their studios, changing places, smaller studios or whatever they were doing just to keep up the stuff.
Yeah, I was in New York around that time, and my industry was closed until the very last part of opening. They opened us with gyms. Makes zero sense. And
You're in the same level as gyms.
so it's like, you know what I mean? But I mean, there was obviously shops still tattooing low key. There was hairdresser salons operating low key. Thing was, the health departments were going so hard on those businesses that they were looking for people to find, and I didn't want to risk it with my shop because, you know, we had opened and I had put everything I could into it, and I just didn't want to risk losing it all because I had to tattoo during COVID. You know what I mean?
Right.
Logically speaking, I should have, because the whole COVID thing to me was just bullshit. Like, you know, it destroyed a lot of families and a lot of businesses, and it was just a waste in general. Like, I don't even want to touch base on it.
We're not getting in trouble here.
Because I did have some friends that said, "How quick before you get canceled?" So let's not get canceled starting with COVID. So moving on. So what do you think like your strong suit is though? Like not necessarily art wise, but like within the tattoo industry. Like not saying like your style of art, but like communication. Do you think like your strongest suit is like, you know, personality? What do you think your strongest suit would be?
I think I have like at least with clients and like with my coworkers, I have like I try to be as humble as possible and understanding as possible, because that's how I want people to be with me.
Yeah.
I'm really cheerful. I tell amazing jokes.
That's actually, you know what's crazy is that's part of why I hired you.
Because I have amazing sense of humor.
When you came in, you were at first you were quiet.
I was scared as shit. I saw you and I was fucking shit. This guy is huge, and you were sitting down.
Yeah, but you know, when you started talking and I started asking you questions, like I saw naturally how like bubbly you were, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, and then I saw your artwork, and I was like,
did one thing match the other?
I was like, you know, this will work. So you know, and then I was like, everybody says that. I don't think I'm bigger than any other guy. Like for some reason, like everybody that I come in touch with, even other men, they're like, "Oh, you're a big guy," and I'm like, I'm an average sized man.
I don't know. I'm
like,
5'2".
I'm 6'2", 300 pounds. I feel like that's an average American male. I don't know. At least
I don't come from average American males. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know what they're like in Latin America, but
like my size.
So there's nobody six.
No, we're like pocket Bibles. We're small.
I expect that from Japan, but not from Latin America.
Now, at least in Venezuela, they're taller, but here, people are taller in Venezuela, a little bit taller than me, but in Peru, people are like my size.
Short,
yeah. Like my size.
I don't know. I've always
average.
I've always been tall, so you know, my size never really like clicks to me when people say it. You know, I think I get more compliments from men than I do women. And it's like, I even had a guy one day, I was standing outside the shop. This was actually probably about a month or so ago. Maybe it's probably about 2 months ago. I was standing outside the shop and the guy was like, "Bro, you got nice calves." And I was like, Like the weirdest thing you would compliment me on my calves.
You
Which
got
I do
a
have
very
nice.
nice bone structure. What?
I do have nice calves. I never work my legs out, probably like once a week. But and it's just weird. But I mean, it's cool. It makes me feel good when a man compliments me. I guess I had another guy say, "Oh, you have a nice beard." But that's when I had like the lumberjack beard. But anyway, so back to you. So like, do you think like as far as like learning the cross contamination and everything was harder for you that you guys didn't have a health department?
Actually, I remember like when I started working at studio, like I always had like a basic knowledge of it because
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, do my table or do this when I was
Mm-hmm.
like learning. I think I got that like actually acknowledged of how important it is when I started working in Peru.
Yeah.
Especially during pandemic, because like everything was had to be like twice as clean for
Yeah.
some reason. Because everybody was scared and everybody was wearing masks and everything had to be, like we clean like even the doors. Like, oh, the client left, door clean,
Yeah.
and everyone was cleaning like wherever you walked. But yeah, like sometimes when I used to work in Peru, it worried me because you see these studios that had like this really bad like really bad contamination there, and
I believe
you
it.
like you could see like the tattoo artists with with their gloves and smoking outside
Oh,
and come
yeah.
back
That's
and
gnarly.
keep tattooing with the
Right.
same
Just
glove they were smoking with.
like the ashes
Yeah,
in the end cap.
Here's some grandma ashes for you.
That's gnarly.
No. So yeah. Also, Latin America has the problem that you can like pay your way out for everything.
Okay.
So by any unlucky chance you had the health department in there that doesn't work.
Just throw them a couple hundred and they leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe not hundreds. That's a lot.
I wish it was
less.
like that here.
Huh?
Wish it was like that here.
Yeah. No.
But you go to jail now if you try to do that.
No, you
like if you get pulled over and you say, "Hey, officer, I'm gonna give you $100," you're gonna act like this never happened. He's gonna say, "Okay, well now get in my car." You know what I mean? So
get in the car.
There's some things I can use that to my advantage, but besides the point. So like, what's the infectious disease rate? Do you see that compared to like here? Because America, believe it or not, we have very strict laws, and some of them don't even make sense. Like.
But tattoos still get infected, and it still happens.
Yeah, but like, so for example, we did a show in Raleigh at the convention, and everything was copacetic. Everything was cool, and then they brought up that we needed to scrub our fingernails with specific brushes every tattoo, and I said, okay. I was like, so you want us to use these brushes?
Scrub tiny our little nails. Brushes?
They're like nail brushes. And I'm like, are we getting new ones every time? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, that's not very sanitary.
But it's the same thing. Yeah, because you're just
not very sanitary. And they couldn't give me a reason why. And it's in their laws. So I'm like, you want me to use a contaminated brush every tattoo to scrub my nails?
It's just.
And that's your health regulation to tattoo? Doesn't make sense at all. So yeah, so there's some ridiculous laws that the U.S. definitely has that make zero sense. Like in New York, you have to have 2 forms of ID. If somebody's giving me their New York State driver's license with their picture on it, that's like every form of ID you need to say that it's you.
You need 2 IDs to get tattooed?
Yeah, New York.
2?
Yep, 2 forms of ID.
What?
So that recently was just a new thing, unless they're bullshitting me. But, never ever have I ever done that before. And then all of a sudden, the health department's like, we need 2 forms from you.
It's kind of silly. So, it's like, this is me also. To be sure, this is me. Yeah.
So, every state has a different regulation. Some states, every county has a different regulation. So it's like in New York, we have some counties that have 0 regulations. Like you can just open up a shop. The health department don't care. And then in some states, only the shop needs to be licensed, not the artist. So it's really weird around here. But, as far as like, infectious diseases, I would say we're very strict with certain things because of
Yeah.
that.
But that's good. I find that good. Like as a cleaning freak, that I love everything clean and everything as it should be.
Yeah.
I find that that's important. Even even if it's silly, even if it's
Listen.
whatever it is, I find like it's better to be safe. It's better to be clean. It's better to have everything.
My first few years tattooing was in a flea market. And
Oh no.
I remember using my leg as an armrest. I remember
Your leg as an armrest?
Yeah, I would wrap up my leg and I would use that because we didn't have the means.
Oh yeah.
There's a flea market in Hialeah, and I loved it. You know, don't get me wrong. That's like one of my best memories was working there, because it's such a nice environment. You know what I mean? Like I loved it. But you know, you learn, and then
helps you tattoo really fast.
I didn't know nothing about bloodborne. I didn't know anything about cross contamination back then. I just knew you needed to clean everything. And you know, I was so young in my career where I didn't have a proper apprenticeship, and nobody would apprentice me. So I went somewhere where they would just let me tattoo and teach me. And
did you learn like watching people?
Yeah, I watched a lot. I'm like a sponge. When I want to learn something, I will study it and I will soak it all in, and I will do it even if I don't know how to do it. So that's just how I do things. And you know, I was grateful to get into a shop that taught me the more hygienic ways of doing things. And you know, I'm grateful that the owner took the chances he did with me. You know, and he was cool. And it was, you know, another shop in Miami, and you know, he had a lot of shops, and you know, it was a good experience. And you know, I'm grateful for him, grateful for that experience. But if it wasn't for that shop, I would never have known anything about cross contamination.
Yeah.
I would never have known anything about what a bloodborne was, because around those times, nobody cared. You know, we just tattooed.
Yeah.
So, but it was cool. It's a cool experience. The flea markets will always be my favorite experiences. It was good times.
Gets you quick.
I'll tell you what, we didn't have Thermofax or nothing. Everything we did was on paper.
Oh yeah.
Hand stencils, everything. Everything we tattooed was hit by hand. Like we never had the luxury of a Thermofax. Never had the luxury of, you know, a stencil printer in general. It was all hand stencils, everything, or a Sharpie.
But at the end of the day, those things help too. You know, like
oh yeah,
like they help you like be better, like making the tattoo more struggle, but more worth it for you. Like it's gonna be more important if it has like more work to it. I know like we all want to do like things more simple to like not complicate our lives, but I think some things that when you work for them and when you do them like the hard way, they have some kind of like more sentimental value to you. So yeah, I treasure all my old tattoos, like the things I've done before.
Oh, I do too. I actually laugh about it. So like I got family members I've tattooed, and like, you know, obviously they're family, so you know, they'll be like, well, you started here, and I'm like, God, that's so bad. And you know, like my dad, God rest his soul, he let me practice on him, you know, my mom, and like I look at those tattoos and I'm like, damn, like I really sucked back then. I'm like,
I suck.
And sometimes I even say, let me fix that, and they're like, no, I love it, and I'm like, no, I don't. Let me fix it. So you know, you got to start somewhere. But at the same time, I know it contradicts what I say about this new age, but I speak on it because I went through it.
Yeah.
If I could have gotten a proper apprenticeship, I would have done it the right way. But where I was from, nobody wanted to apprentice me. I got laughed at. You know, there's this one specific shop who basically laughed at my drawings. You know, I still hold a grudge to this day on that shop. I actually
like my femboy drawings.
Yeah.
Were you surprised when I came with those things?
If you guys don't know, she's into furries.
Hey, so no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
If you're a furry,
I'm
give
not.
her a follow.
No,
Tagged in the bio.
Shut up! Don't expose me.
So yeah, I mean, so we're gonna ask this question, and everybody's been wanting to know. But what is your craziest craziest tattoo experience?
I have two that go like in the same.
Oh no, we'll take two.
One was pretty.
You guys want two, right? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we'll take two.
Two?
Yeah,
All
take
right.
two.
All right. I'll tell just half and half and just leave the mystery there.
Whatever works.
No. One was kind of pretty recent. It was actually really funny. So this couple came in. That's the famous one. The couple came in and they were pretty cool. They were really nice. Lady was quiet. The husband was all chatty, all fireworks. They came to get a couple's tattoo and matching tattoos. Blah blah blah. It was really nice. It was nice, you know. And at some point, I'm always like very like I don't like putting on my music on my headphones and not talking to people because I don't like that. I mean, I respect it because I know it helps focus sometimes, and some clients just don't want to talk to you. But I really try sometimes, like, you know, to get stories out of people and to like talk to people because I love talking to people. And well, I asked them why the matching tattoos, and they were like, "Oh, it's for it's for an initiation." Yeah,
Initiation.
This is not my first language. Yeah, that thing.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, cool! You guys are in a club or something." And like, "Yeah, we're in a swingers club. We're trying to get into a swingers club." And I was like, "Oh, nice. Okay. Who am I to judge?" But after that, they were like super nice, really cool. I didn't know you had to get matching tattoos to get into swinging, but
What were
kudos.
they? What were they?
No, I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna say what tattoos
I'm not
were?
gonna expose them. No.
Okay, fine.
You
fine.
want to get into the swingers club too?
No, just want to give warning in case
sure.
any viewers, come across these certain tattoos.
Just keep an eye on swinger tattoos, matching tattoos.
It's kind of like how the pineapple's a pineapple.
Yeah. A
Yep.
pineapple.
So what was the other one?
And the other one I was tattooing. So there was this girl. I remember her like a hentai girl. Like,
I feel like those are weird people.
yeah, she was
Don't
like.
cancel me for that.
No,
but I feel like that's those people that watch hentai are just weird.
I don't judge. I don't judge.
Okay.
I don't judge. I'm
judge
into
either.
weird shit, but I don't judge. So, I was doing a small tattoo on her ribs,
Mhm.
and like, you know, like she had her bra, like, you know, like she couldn't see her breasts and stuff, and I was like being very careful because we didn't have like a lot of privacy. There was like a lot of people in the studio, so I really take care of privacy as much as I can, especially with female clients.
Mhm.
And I was like, at some point, she was like in pain and stuff, and she just moved, and her boob like came out, and I was like, "Are you okay? Look, they're gonna see you." And she's like, "No, let them watch. That's what they're. That's what it's there for. Let them watch." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I just like continue my work because I was like, "Oh well, that's not my boob. Fine." I was just trying to be nice and careful, and I was just like keep tattooing, and she started moaning like an anime character, like yeah. She was like going all crazy, and all the boys in the studio were like, you know, like, what the fuck? And she was like screaming and moaning, and it was super uncomfortable and weird. But yeah, it was.
Well,
it was.
I hope you guys are satisfied.
I was blushed.
That.
I'm not gonna lie, I was blushed, but yeah, it was weird.
So, well, we're gonna wrap this up. Really want to thank you guys if you have watched, subscribed, and all that stuff. Our audio and everything will be a little bit more clear. We're fine tuning everything, so be patient with us with everything.
It was pretty fun.
It's definitely gonna get funner.
Funnier.
I do have a few guests coming on that you guys will get to meet. It'll be definitely a cool experience for everybody. But thank you guys for watching.